Hey, good morning. It's Patricia Murphy. It's Wednesday. This is Seattle Now. Since the 90s, a program called Running Start has helped high school students in Washington get a jump on college. Enrollment has been steady for years, but recently there have been fewer students taking part. We'll hear about some of the reasons why from South Seattle College's Lynn Christiansen. But first, let's get you caught up. About 24 people who've been camping at Woodland Park were cleared out by the city Tuesday. Some said they'd been there for as long as 2 years. Flyers posted at the park say people have until tomorrow to remove their belongings or risk having them thrown away. The mayor's office says it's been working since January to get people living there into temporary shelter. But yesterday, some of them just packed up their tent or RV and moved down the road. The concrete strike may be over, but now a delivery delay will drag out the completion of Seattle's waterfront project by a year. The city says Teamsters went back to work last month, but it will be a few weeks before the concrete starts flowing. In the end, the 20-acre project will include a park and a pedestrian path to the market. The new opening date will be sometime in 2025. And Bill Gates is isolating after a positive COVID test. The 66-year-old Microsoft founder shared the news on Twitter yesterday. Gates says he's vaxxed and boosted and having mild symptoms. He'll be joining his colleagues remotely on Teams until he recovers. School enrollment is down across the board since the pandemic, both public schools and higher ed, including Running Start, which for nearly 3 decades gives high school students the option to earn college credits while still in high school. That could be to finish early or just shave thousands of dollars off the cost of tuition.
For me personally, there are classes available that I took that would have not been available to me if I had, just stayed in high school. And so I think the diversity in classes you can take is something that's really great about the program. Being able to experience college for like a smaller period of time and also at a significantly cheaper cost is a really good tool for students to kind of get like a pre-college experience of what they can expect. And I think it will help people determine whether or not that's something that they truly want to do.
That was North Seattle College Running Start student Orion Leonard DeSmet talking about how the program can benefit high school students. But the drop in enrollment is noticeable in this program. Registration is down 14% across the state, and even as high as 28% at some Seattle area schools. Lynn Christiansen is the Running Start program specialist at South Seattle College. She's here to tell us why this matters. Lynn, really glad you're here. Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you for asking about Running Start.
Okay, so Running Start is an opportunity for some students to get started on higher ed sooner. But it's also a way into a 4-year degree when it might seem out of reach. Give me an example of that if you can. How might that work?
So students, it's what's called a dual enrollment program. So while they're earning credits at South, those apply also to the requirements to graduate from their high schools. So it does double duty. And a student that plans well and meets with an advisor and does an educational plan can end up at the end of 2 years with the 90 credits necessary to apply to a 2-year degree. This year we have 57 students graduating, and about 3/4 of them are AAs, so they're ready to transfer directly to a 4-year school.
Okay, so like we talked about, this is a cool way for students to be able to start on that higher education experience early if it works for them. But let's talk about some of the ways the program can show up for students, because I remember that once I made the choice to go to college, I had some serious sticker shock when I went to buy books. It is really not just about showing up for class and doing the work. There's a lot of other costs that go along with going to college.
Yeah, we tell students to look at a number of things. The cost of the class. Running Start students only pay for the cost of fees associated with the class or mandatory fees on campus. They also need to look at transportation, if they want to drive, if they want to carpool or do the bus. And since the pandemic, we're trapped out here. Since the pandemic and the bridge, we're kind of trapped out here in West Seattle. So the bus can be difficult for some students. They also have books, and books can range in price from little or nothing to, $600. What I'm seeing is that lots of instructors are moving to open access books, and students may pay for an access card to do their homework with, but the book and the information in the book is free and online. We also, half of our students are what we call fee waiver students. They get free or reduced price lunch at their high school, and so they qualify for a fee waiver. And with the fee waiver, then we order their books for them and get them to them, books and supplies. And then we also waive the fees so that they're not paying anything except transportation.
I'm hearing so much in what you just said, and the choice to go to school is really a big one, but the logistics of going to school are something completely different. And when we're talking about early entrance learners, like we are in this particular program, who is this going to work for? Who is the type of student that gets served well by Running Start? Because it doesn't sound like it's for everyone.
It's not for everyone, and you have to test into it. You don't just walk into it, and there's reasons for that. You need to test at college level for English, reading and writing, and math also. But the students that we see are either extremely driven. They've already figured out what they want to do, and they're extremely driven, and so they mesh perfectly with Running Start. They may be students who already are taking college classes in other places or online classes. The other thing we see are students who don't think they can afford to go to college because it is expensive. And this is a chance for them to dip into it at a low cost and see what it's like.
Getting the chance to try out college in this setting is a great option for some students. And when we're talking about the drop in enrollment, I wonder how much of that can be attributed to the pandemic, because the shift to Zoom life was such a challenge, even under the best circumstances for people. And as we all get back to sort of in-person life, there's been a shift. So I wonder how that's factoring in.
I think it's a lot. It's the main reason for the drop in enrollment. And you see that enrollment has dropped across the state in both Running Start and regular colleges. I think there's two things. I think for some folks, online is perfect because they can do it at any time of the day or night. So if they're working, and a lot of Running Start students work, some work full time even, and they are allowed then to put in that class and do it when they can. But, they've been out of their high school for a long time. And I figure last year was more about just reconnecting with the high school experience, with their classmates, with their teachers and counselors. That is a whole community that they haven't been in for a while.
Like we have been talking about, the stakes for this program for students are obvious. It's an important option for young people to be able to take advantage of. But I'm curious, what potential could this drop in enrollment have on funding for the Running Start program?
Yeah, it's likely you'll have fewer staff specifically aimed at Running Start students. The other issue with lowered enrollment is fewer funds to do things for the fee waiver students. At this point, we provide books, and our philosophy is no student should go without a book. So if I've got it in my book library, I'm happy to loan it to any student that needs it. I think that, I speak from a program that has never had a big staff. So with that in mind, I've been able to do it.
Yeah, sure. Lynn, do you expect enrollment to pick back up? And if you do, when?
I do. I think next year maybe even, and maybe some enrollment rise. But after that, I just see it going up, especially with the number of students who are interested in doing a 4-year degree, but it costs a lot of money. And if you can do your basic studies the first 2 years of a 4-year degree during Running Start, and there's no fees for that or very little, then you're walking into college with a zero balance. And that's pretty good.
And that is a huge advantage, to get some college level education without that large price tag. And students can even choose to get more specific job training in this program, right? There's more than one track available here.
If you're in Running Start, you can also take a professional technical program. Right now, there are 2 Running Start students in the automotive repair program here at South. They finished their high school requirements the first year they were here, and then joined the automotive program. I think it's a double milestone. It's a milestone that says, hey, I've got these skills, I can go out and do it and make money right away, which for some students is really important. And it's also a milestone that said, wow, I graduated high school and I got a 2-year degree at the same time. Every year we get to commencement, and I'm the aunt in the the crazy aunt or crazy grandma. Now I guess I'm old enough I can be grandma in the stands, just cheering for every one of our students that walked over that stage, because it's been hard. It's been hard work, and they've persevered, and they've asked for help when they needed it, and they did it. It's very exciting.
Lynn Christiansen, really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for talking with us.
Thank you.
Lynn Christiansen is the Running Start Program Specialist at South Seattle College. Thanks for listening. Jenny Cecil-Moore produced today's show. Matt Jorgensen does our theme music. I'm Patricia Murphy. See you tomorrow.